Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's virtual plant clinic. My name is Bill Lester. I'm with University of Florida Extension Service here in beautiful Hernando County. And joining me today is our Hernando County Florida Friendly Landscape Coordinator, Colby Pitts. Good morning, Colby. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
And also joining us is one of our Master Gardener volunteers, Bernie. And we always have at least somebody watching us live who asks, "Where's Bernie?" So Bernie is here today. Morning, Bernie. How you doing?
Good morning. Oh, I am just fantastic today.
That's great. It looks like we don't have anybody watching us live yet, so hopefully they'll be popping on in just a moment here. Oh, there we go. Here comes somebody. So, as always, if you're watching us live, please feel free to ask your questions, make a comment, whatever. If you put that in the comments, whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, I will see that and show it if it's appropriate, and we'll do our very best to answer your question. If we can't answer it, we'll look it up. We should have Teresa in the background. As we're struggling for answers, she's sharing links to University of Florida information, and we'll have your help get your lawn and garden problems under control and figured out. Good morning, Bill. How are you? So, hey guys, I was watching the weather this morning, and it's supposed to get cooler and be beautiful this weekend, and then maybe a hurricane's going to come, and then right after the hurricane is gone, maybe a big cold front. So,
That's
I,
what we need. The thing about it is the days are getting shorter, and so many plants use the daylight to indicate what they need to do. So a lot of plants are going to be shutting down if they haven't started doing it already.
mhm.
And I get a lot of people come running in. Oh, look at this! My tree has done this. My red bud has done this, and it's pretty much normal. So this is kind of a strange time of year where do you have a problem or is it normal? It's probably normal. So don't
Yeah.
get too excited, but if things aren't looking well and you are concerned, you're welcome to bring them by and we'll take a look and tell you whether that's just the way it is today or if it's actually a problem and you need to do something.
Yeah, I've actually gotten pictures and questions. What's wrong with my maple tree? The leaves are falling off. Well, that's supposed to happen. Some trees here in Florida do drop their leaves. I know if you're from up north, you're more used to all the trees up there drop their leaves unless it's an evergreen. Here is different. Some trees drop their leaves, other ones don't. Oak trees drop their leaves, but like late winter, early spring, and they drop them right before they get the new leaves on there. So Florida's different. If you're not sure whether your tree should be losing its leaves or not, contact us, call the office, speak with Bernie. Let me put our office number up here so you can give us a call and ask Bernie and say, should my tree be dropping its leaves? And he'll tell you, yes, it should be, or no, it shouldn't be. You got a problem.
People with oak trees usually start calling about mid-January all the way into March. Oh my God, my oak tree is losing its leaves. It's never looked this bad, and just calm down. It's got new ones coming, and it'll be fine. But they do that. So if your oak tree is losing leaves between uh, mid-January and the end of March, it's pretty much what it's supposed to do. So don't worry too bad.
Yeah, and for anybody who might have a pine tree as part of your landscape or on your property, pine trees, it's natural for them to drop needles, but they drop a little bit at a time pretty much year round. Certain times of the year, they drop a little bit more pine needles, other times, they drop a little bit less, but they're always dropping them. So if your pine tree is losing a few needles, that's not anything to worry about. If all of a sudden it loses all the needles on a branch or part of the tree or the whole tree, that can indicate a serious problem.
And of course, pine trees lose a lot of limbs. They limb themselves up. So uh, if you plant a pine tree and you're new to the area, as the tree gets bigger, it's normal for it to lose all the bottom branches. And that's kind of scary to have a reasonable sized branch suddenly laying in your backyard, and really doesn't indicate there's a problem going on at all.
So we got a question for Bill about the new compost program. Are they going to benefit from all of this hurricane yard waste that's being collected and picked up? I believe here in Hernando County, it's all going to the landfill up there in northern Hernando County, and ideally will all be ground. Well, it's going to have to all be ground up, and will ideally most all of it should be turned into compost as a part of their new composting program. Need to have Leanna on here soon. She could tell us everything that's going on up there because she's in charge of the composting. And you know that you can go up there, and they have always taken the yard waste and they grind it up, and you can go up there and pick up mulch, but it's just whatever got brought in there as far as trees, bushes, everything else, they grind it up and you get what you get. So it might be stinky, it might have weeds, it might have invasive tree seeds in it, a little bit of litter and this and that. I think generally is pretty trash free, but you kind of get what you get. Not always the highest quality mulch for an urban landscape.
Yeah, we had a company that was doing grinding up trees and then composting it out on the east side of town. And when they went out of business, they had a couple of piles that had been there pretty much since they had started. And the bottom of those piles had some of the nicest compost. It had been sitting there composting for 4 years, 5 years. It just had the perfect texture. It was a great product. So, but it takes a long time for only trees to compost out. If you've got other things mixed in with it, it goes much quicker.
Yeah, I know that there's a service or a program called Chip Drop, and I believe you can contact them, and they work with tree trimmers, and especially the services that trim trees around power lines and things like that. And they will come by and dump their load of chipped up trees in your driveway, your front yard, wherever you tell them to drop it for you, if you want to use it for mulch or to build up your garden with. Once again, you kind of get what you get. You know, you can't be too selective over which trees you get. And, you know, I'll take that tree chipped up, but I don't want that one. And people will lay it down like a foot or so thick. And that does make a fine base to garden in. It just does take a long time for wood chips to completely break down. You can throw in extra nitrogen, that's going to make it go faster. You can bring in fully finished compost and work in it first, use the wood chips on top of it as mulch. That works. But if you're kind of playing the long game and you're patient, maybe a truckload of chip trees is going to be a good idea for your yard.
Colby, does the university still offer a program where you can get your lawns certified as Florida friendly?
That's something that's kind of been put on hold. I haven't had too many. I've only had a couple people ever ask about it. And the last person that asked about it didn't follow up. I know that they have just recently been doing. They've redone like how those certified Florida friendly yards go. And I've yet to hear exactly how that's going to work now. I haven't done them here since I started, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to do them. I'm kind of waiting for the dust to settle on them, remaking that program for me to start doing that. But if you are interested, please let me know. It's a really good gauge of interest. if people are interested, that's, it's kind of my job to offer the things that people are interested in. So if that's something that you're interested in, please shoot me an email. I'm sure at some point my email is going to be on here, or give me a call at the utilities department, and we can see about it.
So I'll go ahead and share Colby's email there if you'd like more information in Hernando County about the Florida Friendly Landscape, the yard certification program. And if you live in another county outside of Hernando County, if you contact your local extension service, they can tell you who is in charge of that and exactly what they're doing as far as that goes. I know that they changed the and updated the checklist and the rules about what you have to do to be able to be certified. I know there was a problem, and they did add something as far as you have to go through recertification every couple years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's every 2 years.
Yeah, they had people who lived in the house, had a beautiful yard, would get their yard certified, and they pass with flying colors, and they get the yard signed, they put it out in front of their house. Time goes by, they sell the house, they move, things get overgrown, invasive trees come in, and then, years down the road, the house looks almost like a haunted house, but it's got this sign out front that says it's Florida Friendly Landscape. And people might have kind of gotten the wrong impression. Is that what a Florida Friendly Landscape is supposed to look like? So now you do have to get kind of recertification or checkup every couple of years, and I'm not sure the details.
Mm-hmm.
To make sure
there's a
still Florida friendly.
Yeah, there's a that recertification process ends up just being, I'm pretty sure it's just going through the whole thing again. But like I said, we haven't done that program since I've been here, and it's one of those things where it kind of gets a little bit difficult because I don't, work for the university like most FFL agents do. So I kind of got to make do sometimes, and that's been one thing that I haven't had there's not enough people interested in it to like really build out a whole program. But if there are people interested in it that I just don't know about, that's a different story. So, if that's something you're interested in, please let me know.
Yeah. Last one I did was when Lily was here, and fellow was in a mobile home park, trailer park, or whatever. I don't know what they call those. But anyway, he had a really nice setup. He had a double lot. He had a qualified on everything except one of the plants he used was an invasive, and it was on the prohibited list.
Mm-hmm.
And we explained that, as long as you have that plant, we can't certify you. That's the only problem. And he said, well, I really like that plant better than I like your sign. So that was the end of it. And haven't had any requests since then that I know of. We saw some really beautifully landscaped buildings in the county. It's some of the homeowners have done a fantastic job. Some of the people mistake turning a thing into an arboretum for Florida friendly, and that's not really what the intent was. The idea was to do a nice job of landscaping, a pleasant view with Florida friendly plants. And an arboretum, although it is kind of neat to have one of everything in the lawn, that really didn't count as what the intent was. So,
and there's not a whole lot of things that are like immediately disqualifying in that checklist, but having an invasive plant is one of them. So if you can have it can be immaculate, but you have a pepper tree or something growing. Nope, absolutely not. And that's one of the things
that several times where people would have something that was invasive, and they wouldn't give it up. It's really not a good plant, and it's listed on the invasive scheme, and you can't have it. it's a mature plant now. I'm not going to get rid of it. So
I see that a lot with mature trees, big trees, camphor trees especially.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I mean, and they are aesthetically very pleasing trees. They're a lot of shade, but man, they spread, which is the big issue, right? It's not so much here, but down south, if you're, in, I don't know, Venice or Sarasota, driving around, you'll see people with fully these massive pepper trees, with the like trunked out, not like the bushes and stuff we have here. And they're like, oh, I love the red berries. It's so beautiful. And I'm just like, oh, man, the whole time.
It's like Christmas.
And as a lot of us here know, there are plenty other Christmassy plants and trees. There's trees that have red berries. They're beautiful. They're Florida friendly and work really well. That are not Brazilian pepper trees.
Yeah, I remember the thing from Lloyd that says Timber Pines lawns. We went to one place in Timber Pines, and they had done such a nice job. If I remember right, Lily went back with a crew and videoed it. I don't know if that video still exists, but it was a perfect example of what you could do, and it wasn't a real expensive thing. It was just was well thought out, easily and nicely done. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you could be in a subdivision and still abide by their rules and still be fully Florida friendly.
Oh yeah. It's and that's one of the kind of the things that that especially at the state office that they pay attention to a lot is making sure it's kind of like twofold, making sure that not only the homeowners can stay inside of the HOA rules, but the HOA is also, and which is even a bigger part, is the HOA is also being falling within these responsible landscape practices. That's a huge push, I think, from the state FFL office, that they want us working with HOAs. They want us talking to HOAs.
Mm-hmm.
And as Bill knows, sometimes they're not always super receptive, but I think in general they get there.
It's a process.
For sure.
You have to gently lead them in the right direction. And if something is being done incorrectly and it's costing them huge amounts of money, that makes it even easier, because people don't want to waste huge amounts of money. They'd rather use that money for something else. So, we do a lot of neighborhoods.
And a lot of times, and this is not just for HOAs, just in general, the FFL way to do things is often very cost effective. It saves you. I mean, geez Louise, think about how much you spend on irrigation. So if you're reducing the amount you irrigate, that's saving money. Like I said, they often those two goals often align quite well, especially when you're talking on the scale of a big dozens and dozens of homes in a development. That the little dollars become big dollars very, very quickly.
Where can you find information on what it takes to become FFL certified?
That's going to be on the FFL website. I'm sure if Teresa's here, she'll put it up. I don't know if the checklist is like, I don't know if there's like a PDF of the check. I have a PDF of the checklist, but I don't know if they just have it posted. But that doesn't mean that I can't. If you're, like I said, like Nancy, our commenter here, says if she's interested in it, send me an email and we can talk about it. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, it's not that difficult to do. I went with Lily and did one of the checkup, and you're essentially going through a lengthy checklist and making sure that all the different requirements have been done.
I'm not.
Teresa put a link up here. This may not be the right one. This is probably the certification for landscape professionals to be a Florida-friendly landscape professional.
Let's see if I can.
Which is a different ball of wax.
Yeah.
But this one,
no,
that still says professional certification also.
I think I got it here. Oh, and they do have the checklist. It's just out there. It's just They have the whole nine when it comes to all the things you need to figure out, and it is valid for 2 years, as you said earlier. But all that stuff's there. There's a manual actually that tells you exactly
Wow.
how to do it. I think these signs have maybe they're changing. They're going to change. I know that I have the sign that's on the picture there are the ones that I have.
Yeah, so for a homeowner, you're looking for landscape recognition. If you're a professional landscaper, you're looking for the professional certification. They have both.
And there's even there's different categories with it too, because there's I know that there's home landscape, and then you have, which I'm not too familiar with the natural. I haven't looked into that too much. But there's like commercial. HOAs can look at them for their common areas. Even new construction has its own thing when you're establishing and all that information is all on that link that was posted in the comments.
I love new construction. That's when they bury all the pieces of wood that are going to provide the mushrooms for the next 10 years. I was just amazed at how many mushrooms popped up in our yard in various places from the water we got with the hurricane that came through. So, it doesn't take a lot, and you can have some really varied things. I had chantilly's and chanterelles. I'm sorry, wrong word. And some mushrooms that I couldn't identify. I've got the university's book, and if you're interested in mushrooms, the university puts out a book just on common Florida mushrooms, and basically the rule is if you don't know exactly positively what it is, don't eat it.
Yep.
On a mushroom walk with one of the professors, and somebody said, "Oh, here's one. What about this?" And he said, "Those really taste terrible." And so we go on a little farther, and he said, "Oh, here's such and such," and he gives the scientific name, and he said, "I was sick as a dog for 3 days after trying one of those." And he had, oh, and this one is fantastic. He's eaten all of them. I think the guy's crazy, but don't do that. I mean, you may live to be a professor, you may not.
Those some of those mycologists are really they're really dedicated to the craft, and they
Well, it's strange.
Yeah. A lot of the you gotta have a lot of respect for those folks, because sometimes that's the only way you find out. I mean, scientists have been being their own test subjects for millennia, and so much of the knowledge we have comes from dudes walking in the woods eating mushrooms trying to figure out what they do. But,
Here, try this and let's see if you survive or not.
I'd err on the side of caution. Just don't eat mushrooms and pick up off the ground, period.
Yeah, Florida is different. We have a huge number of mushrooms here. A lot of them look very similar to edible ones. So it's up. I know up north, people will go out mushroom hunting, and there's far fewer potential mushrooms up there, potential species. So if you're going, somebody told me that there's a state that really welcomes people to come mushroom hunting. Minnesota, I think, maybe. I don't know. But if you go to Minnesota hunting for mushrooms, there's only a few, and you kind of know, like, oh, well, that one's good, and that one's, poisonous. Here in Florida, there's just a huge number of them. Very, very, very difficult. And if we're ever contacted, and we do get contacted about somebody or their child or their pet or their dog has consumed a mushroom, they send pictures. What is this? Is it poisonous or not? We pass it on to the experts up at University of Florida, and they make the determination exactly what it is. And even then, sometimes it's difficult to do with the picture. They actually need a physical sample. So they do that. It's just not easy.
Yeah, and some of those they like. I mean, you could take a picture of both of them and look at them; they'd be the exact same. And until you really get into the nitty gritty, tiny little parts of this mushroom, you won't be able to tell the difference. And
Yeah,
I'm sure, right?
Exact color of the gills or shapes of them, and spore colors. So,
and when you get those calls about somebody's child dog, the adult, I'm sure you're passing it on, but before that, you're telling them, well, if you don't know what it was, you need to call 911 or call poison control or something.
Well, I know that we've gotten calls from veterinarians.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody's dog ate a mushroom. They took it to the veterinarian. Veterinarian wasn't sure what it is. They contact us. We contact University of Florida experts. And Teresa is tossing up really valuable links here. So link to University of Florida's plant pathology department on mushrooms, and a little bit about our mushroom specialists. I took mycology from Dr. Kimbrough, who was the former mushroom expert, and he had been at University of Florida for years. We'd be in class, and he's referencing research papers that he had done, papers he had written, and had been published in like 1960. So he had been doing it for a long time. And he told us, he said, I wouldn't go walking through the woods in Florida and picking mushrooms and eating them.
Mm-mm.
So if he's not going to do it, I'm not going to do it. I love mushrooms. Mine come from the grocery store.
Yeah, Kimbrough wrote the book. So
Yep.
Mushrooms of Florida by Dr. Kimbrough is the reference book for homeowners. And he tells you only a few are really recommended that you try them. And they're referenced to other mushrooms that might look the same that are not edible. So
yeah.
Mushrooms are one of those things that just have such a large research base. I think it's because they're interesting, but there's just so much research. If that's something that you're interested in, you need a hole to dive down for a weekend or something. There's so much information available on mushrooms, and there's a lot of people who have dedicated their lives specifically to researching mushrooms. So there's so many. It's not something that you're going to struggle to find information about. That's for sure.
Yeah, and the edible ones are extremely healthy for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a matter of, well, they're edible, but I don't know who on earth would want to eat them. Mushrooms, the ones that are edible and safe to eat, are very, very good for you. Now, we also deal with and are contacted by people who want different various weeds and little plants identified. Some people are always asking, can I eat this? Is it edible? And just because it's edible doesn't mean you really want to eat it.
Well, I mean, you can eat anything once.
Yeah, once.
Please do not eat things you find on the ground. Just I'll leave it at that. That's my piece of advice: is just avoid it if you can.
And we can't help you get it identified. So get it identified first. Eat it second after you know that it's safe. Don't do that vice versa.
Yeah, the park over at Bushnell had an edibles, wild thing edibles program a couple of times a year, and Kristen Wood runs it. And Kristen's been doing that for a long time. I've attended those programs and eaten some of those things that I kind of like the pine tea. I think that came out pretty well. And some of the other plants are not too bad, but some of them, although you're right, they're edible, but they aren't something that I would normally want to eat. So
yeah, some of the different green things that you could throw in a salad. I have been told that some of them are very tasty and very good. Some of them contain unique compounds that are very, very healthy for you. Other ones, you can eat them. They're not going to hurt you. They just taste awful. So
it's a pretty small Venn diagram there of things that not only taste good, but also won't kill you. They've been doing those like even since I'm from Sumter County, so like I used to go to Day Battlefield all the time for when I was a kid, doing all kinds of stuff. That's a super cool place to go.
Yeah, I've been there before. Very, very nice park.
Mhm.
Very historical. You'll learn a lot.
Here, Sumter County should appreciate us for tossing in a pitch for them. So
I don't know. I think I don't know that I speak too highly of it too often. So maybe it's just getting even.
Kristen would be a good person to have to talk about some of those edible plants sometime. That might be a good subject.
Well, I know we haven't had Hannah from Chinsega Conservation Center and her helpers on recently, so I need to get a hold of her, get her back on here. But she's very knowledgeable with all the questions about wildlife. So hopefully you realize that if you have a snake you want identified, I can identify a black snake. That's pretty much it. A ringneck snake, I know what they look like. When it comes to birds, I can identify a blue jay and a cardinal. That's about it.
Oh,
Yeah,
you can get a coach whip. You got a coach whip. Those are easy.
Mm-hmm.
the interesting thing about it is our park system hires some really knowledgeable people, and I think it's because these people are so dedicated that in order to be with what they love, they take ridiculously poor pay uh, to do a job that is really a labor of love rather than a job to them. And
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a for the love of the game type of job, for sure.
you know, Susie volunteers up at Homosassa Park, and so many of the people that are working up there uh, are really dedicated people.
Mm-hmm.
It uh, taking maybe half what they could get somewhere else because they really love what they're doing. So makes it great for the citizens.
Yeah, I hear Homosassa is still shut down. They haven't reopened from the hurricane.
They're going to soft open Friday. They will not be publicized. Uh, the people that show up uh, will not be able to buy a ticket, but there'll be a donation jar. The building that you normally enter the park through is still torn up. So they're going to have you park in the west parking lot and enter through a little gate and put a little contribution in the jar, and you can go through. Most of the park itself is back up in pretty good shape. There's only uh, a couple of little areas. It's kind of a funny thing because now the last area to get fixed is at one of the gates. So instead of being a big loop, it's a big one-way thing. You walk all the way around the park, around the boardwalk. You get to the end of the boardwalk, you got to turn around and go all the way back to get out. You
Hey,
cannot make
good,
that last
good,
little
good
bit.
hike for you. Beautiful weather too. Y'all
Yeah.
need the exercise.
But they'll probably extend the soft open uh, until next week, and then hopefully they'll have something set up so they can actually go back to operation again.
Well, that's great. And see, guys, you heard it here first.
You know, you aren't supposed to know that. That's all secret.
Wasn't publicized, not publicized, rather.
Yeah, that's the word. Unpublicized.
Okay, for everybody watching us live, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat and we'll see them and answer them. If you're watching this recorded, you can still contact us with your questions. Send us a question, pictures, lots of pictures. They really help us to figure out what is going on, what the plant is, what might be the problem. Really helps us with suggesting a solution. So you can always email them to me. Everybody emails me. If I can find my email here. All right, what's going on here? Here we go. Or every Thursday, generally every Thursday, Bernie is here helping at the office. He's here pretty much all day long. So you're more than welcome to stop by or give him a call and ask him your question. What's wrong with your plant, your lawn, your tree, whatever it might be. And we'll help you figure out what the issue is, what the solution is. And let me go ahead and show Colby's link tree. If you go there, you can contact Colby. And Colby also takes care of the rain barrel program here in Hernando County. And we also have a compost bin program here in Hernando County. And once a month, we have a class. And we do the two of them together, you know, all the same place, same time, pretty much. And you can get all the information and details from Colby's link tree right there for how to sign up for those. How are we doing for signups for the next one? Do we even have it up?
I
When is that?
I sent out our wait list emails this morning. So those folks will be signing up or not signing up, but hopefully signing up. But you know, special for our viewers here, if you are interested in it, the signups are open. As Bernie said, unpublicized right now at that link tree. If you you know, if you're interested in attending a rain barrel workshop, you can sign up now. I'll post the Facebook event. I don't know, Monday probably.
Had a couple in today that had some lawn problems, and we were discussing it. And she mows the lawn and sets the mower at 3, thinking that that's 3 inches. And here it is. And when you put a ruler on it, turns out it's just a shade under 1 inch that it's mowed. And of course, you can appreciate what has happened. See that there are no hairs on the little root, and that's the only root that's longer than 1.25 inches. So the whole lawn is turned brown. What do they need to do? And unfortunately, at this point, they're going to have to resod. But one thing you need to remember is the numbers on those mowers are strictly arbitrary. The 3 didn't mean 3 inches. In her case, the 3 on that mower meant 1.25 inches.
It's the third lowest one they got.
My mower, I just got a new mower. They told me that it would mow 4.5 inches, and at its highest setting, which is 7, it mows 3 inches. So I assume that if I put another 10 pounds of air in the tires above the recommendation, that I could raise it another 1/2 inch. But
it's new tires at that point, a lift kit.
But it's just amazing that the mowers that you buy today, a push mower, a new push mower, very rarely will make 3 inches. So I've had customers that put bigger wheels on so they can get it up and mow the lawn at some reasonable height. So just because the mower says 4 or whatever, that's not inches. That's just a number. That's a reference number. 4 being it's mowing higher than if it was at 3. So
here, I just changed our background picture here. And this is somebody who had issues with our once-a-week irrigation rules here in Hernando County and said that he needed to be allowed to water his lawn not on a day other than his regular day because he had just fertilized it, because he wants his lawn to look beautiful, green and beautiful again, and have it come back. And if you fertilize it and you don't water it right away, you're going to burn the lawn. Well, good news for him is he has no lawn to burn, so he didn't have to worry about that. Fertilizing bare dirt and watering in the fertilizer doesn't make the bare dirt grow or turn green or really anything. He has just tiny little bits of grass left in his yard coming from, he probably had a gas push mower and set it on the lowest setting and did that many, many, many times. until he ended up with pretty darn close to nothing. And at this point, if he really wants the lawn, he's going to have to resod it. It's not going to grow back. It's not going to fill in. I don't care if you fertilize it. I don't care if you water it. None of those are going to help. So
Very sad.
yes, it is. And unfortunately, so many times people will have a question, a problem, an issue, and they talk to other people, they take other steps, they do this, they do this, they do this, spend money on this, this, and this, and this. And then kind of as a last resort, they contact us. And we tell them like, oh, sorry, but most everything that you've done up to this point is incorrect, didn't solve the problem, maybe made the problem worse. And now it's going to be, if you want to fix it, it's going to be very costly. Where had you contacted us at the very beginning, we could have probably helped you avoid an awful lot of this, a lot of the expense, a lot of the work, a lot of the, because I've replaced lawns before. It's a lot of work. If you're paying somebody to do it, it's a lot of money. So had you contacted us first, we could have avoided a lot of this. See, question back here from Bill that we'll toss out there to Colby. He wants to know, does rain barrel water ever become bad for using on plants, and is there a time limit?
There's no hard and fast time limit. Now, with any standing water, if you leave it in there for months and months and months, if you're not taking the precautions to keep that water, algae free, you're going to get algae eventually. Now, there's plenty of stuff you can do that's not going to harm. That's not going to harm the water quality, but it is going to keep the algae and stuff out. I've seen people put rolled up bare copper wire in there. That'll keep some of the algae out. Also, I know based on this, like a lot of those concerns, there's concerns about mosquitoes and stuff like that. The rain barrels that we have, they're very finely screened, so you don't get a lot of debris, and you don't get a lot of mosquitoes can't really get in there. So the mosquito larvae and debris and a lot of the dirtiness of that water, if it sits, is going to come from debris getting in there. So as long as you're making sure that no debris is getting in there, I'm sure it'll last quite some time. But over the course that I've been doing the rain barrel workshops and hearing from people who have gotten our rain barrels, we have not had any. I've never had anyone say the inside of my rain barrel's gross. So it's kind of anecdotal information, but that's what I've dealt with anyway.
But remember, it's really never potable water.
Yeah, don't drink it.
It comes off of your roof. Birds fly over your house and poop on your roof. I mean, you may not notice it, but it happens. And all kinds of other stuff ends up on your roof, and it gets washed into your rain barrel, so it's never safe to drink.
Well, think about it like this. Would you eat out of your gutters? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
So there you go.
Oh. Good question. Would you eat out of your gutter?
Thought for today.
Yeah.
Well, I've said that. I've said that. Like, people have asked me, it's like, oh, well, can I use this to store? I suppose you could store drinking water, but don't. I asked them, well, would you eat out of your gutters? They look at me like I'm crazy. That's where the water.
That's where the water was.
Yeah.
And it came off of your roof, and if nothing else, it's going to bring down the sand, the grit that's on your shingles, and whatever dirt, debris, poo, dead animals. Well, I don't think that you have dead animals necessarily, but insects, anything that could be on your roof.
Just go look in your gutters. Just go look.
It's probably
you're
better
not going to drink
for
rainbow water anymore. Just go look.
It's good for the plants. It's just not good for people.
Exactly.
Plants don't care about some insect legs and bird poop in their water. Not very much, anyway.
They could deal. It's bird poop may be a fertilizer source for some plants. I'm not gonna suggest that you use that for fertilizer, but plants can deal with it.
Bill, I've got a question on the status of citrus plants in Florida. That's one of those things that so many people that move to Florida really want a citrus plant, and with the greening problem the way it's been, I know there's a lot of research going on. Are you up on what current status is on citrus at this point in Florida?
Citrus is being recommended for people to plant and grow. The problem is that all varieties of citrus are susceptible to that disease, citrus greening, that's spread by a very, very tiny little insect called the Asian citrus psyllid. There is one variety now that was bred from, I guess, natural breeding. It's not a GMO. It's not anything like that. They did find a variety that was naturally resistant to citrus greening and worked on it. And it's called Sugar Bell. It's a mandarin orange. And that is the only really widely available greening resistant variety right now. There's a number of other varieties that are like in the pipeline, and they all have different levels of resistance. Some are a little bit more resistant than others that are coming on the market. There's others. They are working on a GMO variety of citrus. I know that sends some people into a tizzy, but they're working on it. And those are all ways to get around citrus greening, because otherwise, if you go and you just buy a Myers lemon, a grapefruit tree, whatever it might be, and plant it, there's a very, very, very good chance those insects will find your tree and they'll be infected with citrus greening, and your tree will catch it and your tree will die. Won't happen immediately. Takes a few years for that to happen, but you're going to put all the time and effort into buying a tree, take care of it, and now you're not going to get any citrus off of it. There are still people who have citrus trees, and they've had them for many, many years, and they haven't gotten it yet. So I can't say that you will get it. I can't say that you won't get it. It is pretty reasonable to say that you'll probably get it. So there are varieties. If you look online, our Master Gardener Nursery, we do have a class on citrus, and we offer the Sugar Bell trees. We've been trying to do it like twice a year because there's still quite a few people interested in it. And I need to contact the nursery and see if they have any other varieties available yet. And if they do, what the heck, we'll give them a shot too. I know they're working on grapefruit, lemons, other oranges. So hopefully we'll be able to offer some greening resistant varieties other than Sugar Bell, although Sugar Bell is fine. Sugar Bell is surprisingly cold resistant. I saw Sugar Bell mandarin oranges for sale once before at a grocery store. They were in a little plastic package. And I was thinking, I wonder where they grew them at. I looked at where they came from. They came from Georgia. They can grow them as far north as southern Georgia. So that's pretty cold tolerant citrus. But yeah, that's the only option right now to avoid greening.
Do kumquats have the same problem?
Yes, kumquats can get citrus greening also.
What about the little finger limes?
Finger limes do not. Finger limes are technically in the same family. Finger limes do not get citrus greening at all, ever.
Oh, well, that's the plant then. Okay.
And we did have a class, or we did offer them at our nursery just a few months ago, and we're going to do that again. I bought one, and I planted it, and it's doing really well. It has flushed out and gotten a little bit of new growth. Hasn't dramatically grown a lot taller or a lot wider. Looks very good.
Very good.
So hopefully I'll get gourmet finger limes someday. So, hey, guys, we're getting close to that time. So if you have any last minute questions, comments, whatever it may be, go ahead and put them in, and we'll do our best to answer them.
Okay.
Let me start showing all of our contact information once again. There is my email. Here is our office phone number, so you're more than welcome to call. You can actually call and speak with me on Thursdays if you'd like. Here is our Facebook page. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook. When we plan any of those classes, if we're going to purchase and then resell, offer to the public, citrus trees, finger limes, whatever it might be at the nursery, we always put that information on Facebook. So follow us on Facebook, and that way you can keep on top of everything that we're doing, everything we have coming up. We have a nursery. Our Master Gardener volunteers run a nursery. Here's the address. It is located right off of State Road 41 here in Brooksville, right behind the Hernando County Fairgrounds, on the same street as Animal Control. And they're there Wednesday mornings and Saturday mornings from 8:30 in the morning until noon. You know, we've done a lot of classes over the years, and pretty much since COVID, or really before that, we have tried to record all of them. So all the ones we do online are very easy to record. You just have to remember to hit the record button, and if you do that, you're good. You're going to be recording it, and we take them and put them on Hernando County Government's YouTube channel. So be sure to check out their YouTube channel. You'll see a lot of very interesting videos on the fire department, sheriff's department, landfill, everything else. If you look, you're going to find a playlist for Florida-friendly landscaping and one for extension. And we have lots and lots of recorded classes on there that you can learn a lot from watching. And where's Colby? Here's Colby's direct email. And then, like I said, Colby also has a link tree, which if you go there, has links to all the different things that he has going on. And I think that's it. That's a bunch. That's a lot. So we had a quiet audience this week, I think.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That's okay.
They're all out running around the block, losing weight to get ready to stuff themselves in 2 weeks.
Very, very good planning.
Get that weight down so that you can really go big.
I'm planning on lots and lots of outdoor time this weekend because the weather should be beautiful. So take advantage of it. Don't let it pass you by. I know that we will be here next Thursday, November 21st, but the week after that is Thanksgiving, and we won't be here Thanksgiving. So
that's a promise.
Yes, it is. We have a lot of family coming over. We're cooking this year, so.
I wondered why we didn't get an invite. So that's it. You just got a house full.
Seems like everybody else is coming, so.
I'll be all over the state of Florida. Those 3 days, Wednesday to Friday, I'll be everywhere. Yeah.
Visiting lots of family, hitting lots of different dinners, or.
Yeah. When I have two families. My fiance has two families, so then it's like, and nobody lives close to anybody else, so it's everywhere.
Okay, we got time for one last question. Bernie, Nancy's crepe myrtle has some kind of black mold on the leaves. Is this normal?
Yes and no. It's sooty mold, and it's because you probably have aphids or some other little insect on the plant. Don't worry about it. All the leaves are going to fall off. It's not going to be a problem. It probably would make sense to maybe rake up those leaves and dispose of them, but if you don't, it won't make much difference. And the new leaves next year will be fine. So since it's crepe myrtle, you are very lucky. You don't have to do anything.
I like that kind of garden advice. Okay, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. So all of you who were able to join us, thank you so much for joining in. We will be back again next Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning. We will not be here the week after that because that's Thanksgiving. So if you have any questions, comments, please be sure to contact us or save them all up for next week. If you have pictures, email them to me. I can show them here live and share them with everybody so we can all kind of work together to figure out what your plant problems are. So until next Thursday, you guys all take care and have a great week. See you then. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.